Bienvenue à la Dan's Bistro. Today we are going to be making the French Manhattan. That's right, the French Manhattan is a little bit more of a different take on a Manhattan. Now, when I originally looked into doing this, I didn't realize just how many different versions of the French Manhattan that there really are. Some of them use bourbon, some use cognac, some use Chambord, some use like all sorts of different things can make a French Manhattan. So I decided it's really whatever you want it to be. Take a Manhattan and change something to make it seem somewhat marginally kind of maybe sort of Frenchish. I don't know. The way we're going to be doing it today is by substituting in cognac for our dark spirit, and then we're going to be using a Cointreau just to give a little bit more of that fruity, floral flavor to it. We're also going to be using a hibiscus lavender bitters as our flavor bitters to give us that little more floral, fruity aroma, adding to the Cointreau. It's going to be tasty, and what we're going to be doing is 2 parts of our cognac, 1 part of our vermouth, half part to 1 part of our Cointreau, depending on how we're feeling, and then a splash of our bitters. So we're going to go ahead and put in 2 ounces of our cognac, and this does not need to be a good one because it's being mixed with a bunch of other things. The quality of the cognac isn't going to have a huge difference. It is the primary spirit in the drink, but there's a lot of other stuff mixed in there too, so don't use your high quality stuff for this. Maybe just use something that's, you know, your non-high quality cognac that you have at home. I'm realizing that I may be using terms that people don't necessarily apply to people other than me, as in your backup cognac and your not high drinking quality cognac. I don't know. Anyway, we're now going to do 1 part of our vermouth, again a sweet vermouth, to give us that sweet flavoring to our beverage, which is just going to be delightful. And we are doing this in a glass mixing vessel that we will then strain into a container. Oh, by the way, this is the only horizontal striped shirt that I had, and it's the closest I have to that white and black patterny thing that is the stereotypical French. I figured I could make a beret out of one of my winter hats and a scarf, but the shirt, it doesn't quite cut it, but it's the best I got, so it's the what you're gonna get. I did like the beret made out of the winter hat. I thought that was nice. Now we're gonna do maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an ounce of our Cointreau for that nice sweet orange flavor to our drink, and that's just gonna be dandy right there. And we're finally going to finish up with just a dash of our bitters, 1 for aromatic and 1 for some flavor. So we're just using a nice dark bitter because we're using the cognac that has a little more body than a rye, which is more dry and nuanced. We're going to want a little bit heavier bitters to go ahead and be able to compensate for that. We're also going to add a little bit of our hibiscus, lavender, and oak bitters. The hibiscus, I think, is going to give a nice floral aspect to it, and it should complement the orange quite nicely. Cue the ridiculously oversized spoon that we will go ahead and get this nice and chilly. And as I'm stirring, I'm finding that while I stir, I have time to talk about random things. So if you have any thoughts on discussion topics, on cocktails to make, just on things to chat about, let me know. I'm always curious what people want to talk about, and if you just want me to shut up and stir so you can hear the sound of ice being nicely nestled around a glass, I can do that too. I won't, but I could. But you know, we'll see. Anyway, now that our drink has been sufficiently chilled and stirred around a glass, you can see the edges of the glass are getting a little bit frosty. That's a good indicator that it's going to be about time to pour. It's also been 30 seconds or so. That's usually a good indicator of, or a good baseline. So we have our glass. It'll be our final vessel for this. And carefully straining using the spoon our ice cubes out, we'll go ahead and pour into our serving glass. Looks delightful, and to cap it all off with a little bit of pomp and circumstance, and no, there's no graduation going on, but there's pomp and circumstance anyway, we're going to go ahead and put in our cherries. And no, I won't make the joke again. And so there we have it. We have our French Manhattan, a little bit of cognac to spice it up, and a little bit more fruit to kind of go with everything else. And drinking with the cherries poised on top right there, it's harder than it looks. It's whatever. Anyway. Oh, that's nice. The orange really, the Cointreau really adds nice flavor to it. It makes it a little bit more refreshing, almost again, kind of like a punch-like, rather than as spirit-forward as a standard Manhattan is. You get more sweetness because you've got both the Cointreau as well as the vermouth, sweet vermouth. It really is nice. It's a nice combination. You can absolutely use a low quality cognac because it's not all that present in it, but you do get those honey notes and that kind of warmth, sweetness to that from the cognac as well. So I hope you're having a great whatever this happens to be for you. I hope you're finding things to do and keeping occupied, learning new things, or just being you. Remember, you already went to the kitchen and had a snack. You don't need to go back. You're probably just thirsty. Drink your water, drink your cocktails, and happy practicing. Cheers.